This morning, Roger Rogerson dead at 83. The decorated detective turned corrupt cop dies in hospital. Labor's crunch cost of living talks shunned by the opposition as political theatre. A new health scare for the royal family. Sarah Ferguson diagnosed with cancer. And Ron DeSantis pulls out of the race to the White House and tightens Donald Trump's iron grip.
This is 7 News with Chris Reason.
Good morning. Disgraced detective Roger Rogerson has died days after suffering a brain aneurysm in prison. The once decorated officer turned corrupt cop was serving a life sentence over the murder of a young drug dealer. As Liam Tapper reports, his career in the force unravelled dramatically with links to organised crime.
Well, he was once the most decorated police officer in the New South Wales force, but criminals, they knew him as the most corrupt. Now Roger Rogerson has passed away. He was taken to the Prince of Wales Hospital after suffering a brain aneurysm. His life support was turned off. Days later, he had passed. The 83-year-old, he was once revered within the New South Wales police force, given a number of bravery awards, seen as God, even one day a potential police commissioner. All at the same time, he was working hand in glove with some of Sydney's most notorious criminals, such as underworld kingpin Abe Saffron to notorious hitman Nettie Smith. Throughout his career, he was plagued by claims of murder, attempted murder, even the attempted hit on his former partner, Mick Drury, in his Chatswood home. There were also claims of corruption and bribery before, in 1986, he was sacked from the force. But since 2016, he has spent a life sentence in Long Bay Jail over the murder of 20-year-old drug dealer Jamie Gow.
There'll be some relief amongst a lot of people. I think it's the end of an era, and it's a good thing to be able to say goodbye to that corruption that was rife in the 80s in New South Wales, and Rogerson was at the very top of the tree.
It was a lifetime of, in many cases, dishonour to the New South Wales Police Force. I don't have anything further to say about him. I think it does for a lot of people, but yeah, look, I'm not going to speak ill of the dead.
Rogerson, he will be remembered for all the wrong reasons, and he was 83 years old when he passed away.
The cost of living will dominate crisis talks Anthony Albanese is holding this week as he recalls all his MPs to Canberra 2 weeks early. We're live to Ben Downey in Canberra. Ben, the opposition is labelling political theatre.
To the tune of nearly $500,000 by its own calculations, Chris. That's for normal travel allowances for MPs and staff to have this meeting before Parliament sits. Energy prices will be one of the cost of living focuses of this meeting, with the Albanese government striking deals with energy giants like Woodside to put more gas into the market to stop shortfalls and bill spikes. The difficulty for the government is providing relief without fueling inflation, something certain to spark internal party debate about, with the controversial Stage 3 tax cuts on the horizon. Whatever the subject, the opposition says it's a stunt. Take a listen.
I mean, this is not about a cost of living issue. It's about a political Academy Award issue where you can have the cameras rolling as they walk in for over $500,000 of your money.
I don't know exactly what the dollar figure is, but even if it is that amount of money, I think that's money well spent when it comes to providing the cost of living relief that Australians are demanding.
Supermarkets will soon be under the spotlight too for their role in the cost of living crisis, with a Senate inquiry examining their power to set prices. Rent assistance and childcare are also on the agenda of the meeting, which takes place on Wednesday. Chris?
OK, thanks. Ben Downey reporting for us there in Canberra. Now, it's claimed casual workers are among the hardest hit by soaring living costs. Less than 5% of long-term casual workers seeking a permanent role have been able to do so, according to the ACTU. Its president, Michelle O'Neill, is calling for an overhaul of industrial relations laws to prevent casual workers from being blocked to make that switch. The royal family has been rocked by a new health scare. The Duchess of York has been diagnosed with skin cancer. A malignant melanoma was discovered during Sarah Ferguson's treatment for breast cancer. Medical teams are now investigating whether it was caught early enough. But the Duchess is said to be in good spirits.
As part of her reconstructive surgery, They did remove some moles from her skin. They were tested and they've come back with that distressing news.
The announcement, of course, comes days after news emerged that King Charles and Princess Kate were battling their own health issues. 3 people have been arrested after a man was found dead at a home in Melbourne's southeast. The man was taken to hospital where he later died, prompting a homicide investigation. Cameron Bowe reports.
3 people are in custody over the death of the man. It's believed that the 33-year-old victim was stabbed to death. Police were called to the house at Hampton East in Melbourne southeast at around 3:45 yesterday afternoon. A 33-year-old man from Ashburton was so badly injured that he had become unresponsive. He was treated at the scene by paramedics. The victim was taken to hospital but couldn't be saved. A 27-year-old man from Hampton East, a 28-year-old man from Berwick and a 25-year-old woman have been in custody overnight. It's believed that there are several potential witnesses to the attack. Rowdy gatherings have become a regular event at this house. The violent death of the man has left locals on edge. It follows another fatal stabbing just a few hundred metres away earlier this month.
Around midday or so, a few people came outside just playing music through the cars. They're outside for, I don't know, maybe half an hour, 45 minutes, and then I went back inside and didn't think much of it.
Came home from a kid's birthday party about 4 o'clock and we saw all the cars and police and fire engines and paramedics. It's really concerning. I've got 3 young children, definitely concerned about what's been happening in the area.
The police were here pretty much all night and all a bit scary. They've been having a few parties, there've been quite a few people around, the odd argument here and there.
Forensics police have examined the property and also a white ute which has been parked across the road from the house.
In the US, Republican contender Ron DeSantis has pulled out of the race to the White House. The Florida governor announced he's suspending his campaign for the Republican nomination, conceding he did not have a clear path to victory. He also endorsed former President Donald Trump while making that announcement today.
Trump is superior to the current incumbent, Joe Biden. That is clear. I signed a pledge to support the Republican nominee, and I will honor that pledge.
Support for DeSantis had been declining for months in the face of rigid support for Donald Trump. Nikki Haley remains the final contender with a chance of denying Trump the nomination. Israel's offensive in Gaza has reached a grim new milestone. More than 25,000 Palestinians have reportedly been killed in Gaza in Israel's response to the October 7 terror attacks. That's according to the Hamas-run Health Ministry. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has described the scale of civilian deaths as heartbreaking and utterly unacceptable. Queensland's summer of destructive weather is far from over, with a new tropical cyclone approaching the state's coast. There are warnings of torrential rain and destructive winds, just as much of the Sunshine State swelters through a heatwave. Here's Tamara Bowe.
While all eyes are currently on the far north, the effects of this system will be far-reaching. Right now, we have a tropical low that's swirling about 800 kilometres off the coast of Townsville, expected to intensify into a severe Category 3 system tomorrow. Then, by midweek, Tropical Cyclone Kirrily could make landfall anywhere between Cairns and Mackay before that system has the potential to move further south, bringing torrential rain to large parts of southeast Queensland.
The rain, the winds, the flooding and the marine conditions are our biggest concern with tropical cyclones. So extremely heavy rain, locally intense rain across fairly wide areas of the coast, combined with destructive winds.
Right now, we are in the grips of this heatwave, expected to reach levels of severe across large parts of Queensland today. It will thankfully peak here in the southeast, bringing a top temp of 37 degrees to Brisbane. It'll get up to about 39 in Ipswich, 44 degrees out in Birdsville and around 34 degrees on the Sunshine Coast as well. And then thankfully we will see a break in all this heat, a cool change expected to move through later today into tomorrow, dropping those temperatures by about 10 degrees, bringing us back in line with the summertime average.
More weather later, but next in 7 News, the Gabba becomes the newest flashpoint of the Australia Day debate. Cars on fire, a pedestrian hurt and a driver on the run. Mayhem on a suburban street. And why Ukraine is desperate for Australian coal. A mother and child have been pulled from a burning car near Katoomba in the Blue Mountains. It caught alight after colliding with a truck earlier this morning. Both occupants were treated by paramedics and taken to hospital. The Great Western Highway is still closed in both directions near that crash site, with drivers told to expect delays. Queensland police are on the hunt for a driver who fled after crashing into a house and pedestrian in Logan. A 28-year-old man was left with serious injuries when he was hit by a white hatchback late yesterday. The car then hit a garage and crashed into a parked vehicle. In the mayhem, 2 cars went up in flames. The injured pedestrian is in a serious but stable condition. And Cricket Australia has attracted fresh criticism after announcing it will avoid the term Australia Day at the Gabba Test. Day 2 of the Brisbane Test takes place on January 26, but the day will only be acknowledged in passing. Sarah Jane Bell reports.
Cricket Australia says it's looking to promote inclusivity and respect amongst patrons, regardless of their opinion on the date, and won't be using the term Australia Day on January the 26th. The decision was made in consultation with the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Advisory Committee. Australia will take on the West Indies here at the Gabba from Thursday, meaning that Day 2 of the Test will fall on the public holiday.
As a government, we've made clear that we have no plans whatsoever to change the date from Australia Day. I'll be celebrating Australia Day myself on Thursday at a citizenship ceremony and probably a barbie after that. I know the Prime Minister's planning to celebrate Australia Day, but we respect the fact that different people have got different views.
It's understood that Australia Day will only be marked in passing by the ground announcer, with Cricket Australia looking to acknowledge that the day means vastly different things to different people.
Thousands of people have been forced to evacuate their homes in Indonesia after a volcanic eruption. Lava could be seen travelling up to 2 kilometres from Mount Merapi as clouds of ash blanketed several villages on the densely populated island of Java. So far, no deaths have been reported. Mount Merapi is Indonesia's most active volcano. Ukraine has issued an urgent plea for a shipment of Australian thermal coal. Kyiv has made the request to the Albanese government to match a shipment of nearly 80,000 tonnes sent in 2022. It argues the shipment is critical as the country stares down the possibility of extensive blackouts from Russian attacks. A shipment of that size would cost taxpayers here about $30 million. And checking finance news now, the local market has risen in morning trade. The ASX 200 is up 41 points. $1 Australian dollar is buying 65.9 US cents, 97 yen and $1.07 New Zealand. Well, next in 7 News, sport with Matt Carmichael, including the Demon goes down with a fight at the Australian Open. Also, the NFL's fairy tale Cinderella story continues to unravel.
Good morning. Australia's 48-year wait for a men's Oz Open champion goes on, with Alex de Minaur absolutely devastated by last night's defeat to Andrei Rublev. The Demon fought all the way to a 5th set with the world number 5 before a heartbreaking 4th round defeat.
As Alex de Minaur made his way onto the Rod Laver stage, Australian tennis fans and icons alike were out in numbers, hoping for an open dream to continue. But a 5th-seeded Andrei Rublev wasn't about to make things easy.
Early break goes the way of the number 5 seed, Rublev.
A frustrating start for de Minaur on centre court. Rublev capitalising to claim the opening set. But it didn't take long for the Demon to get the crowd roaring again.
That's excellent.
Pulling out all the tricks in the book to shift the momentum back his way.
He got it. Oh, yeah. Around the net.
With the crowd behind him, the world number 10 looked in complete control, storming to a 2-1 lead. Despite the deficit, a relentless Rublev fought back to force a 5th. And as midnight grew closer, the world number 5 began to pull away.
Oh, that's too good. He's gone to a different level.
In the end, the Russian too strong for de Minaur, crushing hopes of a fairy tale run at his home slam.
Yeah, it's tough
to finish up my campaign here. Obviously, had aspirations for more.
Rublev will take on 4th seed Yannick Sinner in the quarterfinals. The Italian star cruised past Russian 15th seed Karen Khachanov in straight sets, looming as a genuine threat to Djokovic and Alcaraz. All eyes are on tonight's Big Bash Challenger between Adelaide Strikers and Brisbane Heat on the Gold Coast. Rain intervened the last time they met. The winner goes on to face the Sydney Sixers in Wednesday night's final at the SCG.
We've got nothing to lose. Everyone's written us off all year, and we'll go to the Gold Coast full of beans, full of energy.
We're liking our chances and we're ready to go. We've played the way we have this year and we've deserved that extra chance.
The Heat and Strikers are live on 7 and 7 Mate tonight. The Diamonds continue to shine at netball's Nations Cup. They took on England in an end-to-end thriller in London this morning. The Roses took a 2-goal advantage into the final quarter, but the Aussies fought back to seal their second victory of the campaign, 61-59. New Zealand scored their first win, defeating Uganda 65-60. It was a feisty A-League affair between the Mariners and Melbourne City last night. Angel Torres slotted home an 88th minute winner to break City hearts before an all-out brawl sparked in stoppage time, involving almost every player on the field and the benches.
There's a little bit of afters with Antonis and Farrell, and the players have come from everywhere here.
The Mariners now sit in 4th, 4 points off top spot on the ladder. Liverpool consolidated their position on top of the Premier League, thrashing Bournemouth 4-0. The ruthless Reds now sit 5 points clear of second. West Ham and Sheffield United were both reduced to 10 men in their 2-all draw. The Blades secured a 103rd minute equaliser thanks to an Ollie McBurney penalty.
For a route off the bottom of the table, and that goal is crucially important.
West Ham were denied a penalty of their own a minute later. There's a fairy tale unfolding in the NFL playoffs. The Detroit Lions beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 31-23 to move within one win of the Super Bowl. Linebacker Derek Barnes sealed it with a desperate play in the final minutes. The 49ers await in the NFC Championship game. It's the first time the Lions have won 2 playoff games in the same season since 1957. That year, they won the Super Bowl. And Rory McIlroy overcame a 10-shot deficit to win the Dubai Desert Classic. It's a record 4th win at the tournament for the world number 2. In California, 20-year-old college student Nick Dunlap became the first amateur to win on the PGA Tour in more than 3 decades. Dunlap shot 29 under to win the American Express by 1 shot from Christian Bezuidenhout.
What a story unfolding in the Coachella Valley. We haven't seen that done since 1991.
A guy named Phil Mickelson was the last amateur to win on tour. $2.3 million for the win, but he doesn't get it because he's amateur, Rezo, so I think he'll be all right for money in the future.
Yeah, I think so. All right, thanks, Matty, for that. Well, next in 7's Morning News, the National Weather Forecast.
Weight loss drug war. The new challenger entering the market, promising the most effective results. And how to beat the Bowser. Where to find the cheapest petrol near you. Start with Sunrise. Tomorrow morning on 7 and 7 Plus.
Road workers in Northern California have made light work of a tricky roadblock problem. Large boulders fell on a Sacramento road after a rock slide, completely blocking drivers. Fortunately, crews had the right tool for the job: explosives. The blast split the boulders and sent chunks of rock flying. The clean-up is still expected to take another week. Surprised the camera survived. Now taking a look at the weather around the country. Around the capitals, partly cloudy in Brisbane and 37 degrees. Partly cloudy in Sydney with 25. Partly cloudy in Canberra with 26. Cloudy in Melbourne, 20 degrees. A morning shower or two in Hobart, 16. Sunny in Adelaide, 32. Sunny in Perth and 28. And showers in Darwin with 32 degrees. And that is 7 News to now. We'll keep you up to date throughout the day. Our next major bulletin is at 4 p.m. I'm Chris Reason. Thanks for your company and have a great day.
Stream 7 News anytime, live and on demand on 7plus. And with 7news.com.au, you'll know the news now.